Sorry. So we'll get into the text now. St. Paul says, "For I am not ashamed of the gospel, for it is the power of God for salvation to everyone who has faith, the Jew first and also to the Greek." St. Paul is saying, I'm not ashamed. No matter what you Judaizers say, that I'm preaching Christ without circumcision, they say you should be ashamed, Paul. He said, no, I'm not ashamed. And I'm not ashamed because why? I'm not ashamed because I've been preaching this gospel to all the nations, and the people that are experiencing this gospel that I'm giving them, they're experiencing the power of God. And not only, and what is the power of God? The most powerful thing in the world is what? To change someone's life, to change the heart of man. And he's saying, I'm not embarrassed because the power of God in these people is changing their hearts, their lives. If you want to follow with me, by the way, I think it's Romans chapter 1, verse 18, I think, if you want to follow. And then he says, "For in it the righteousness of God is revealed by faith to faith." So he's saying this is how the power of God is working in these people's lives. Their lives are changing because they're using faith. Not because they have the law, not because they're doing certain things like circumcision, but their lives are changing because they have faith. And what is faith? It's trusting in God. They're trusting, they're putting their lives, instead of saying, I'm going to be righteous, I'm going to be the one that like looks good in front of people, I'm going to say my own ways. They're trading that for the righteousness of God. And what is the righteousness of God? If you go back to the Greek, I always have trouble pronouncing the Greek words, but it's dikai osun, I think that's how you say it. And that's the word that is used for righteousness. That's the word that St. Paul is using. And when we think of the word righteous, sometimes it's painted in a negative light. You might hear someone say, "Oh, that guy thinks he's so righteous." Someone who thinks they're so good. But what the actual Greek word means is all of God's love and perfection is what it means. It means more of like a mercy, a love, a kindness type of righteousness. So when the gospel says God's righteousness, it's not saying like God's thinking he's better than everyone else. No, that's wrong. What it's saying is God's mercy, God's compassion. And this is what is happening, is that people's lives are being changed because people are approaching God now with faith. And they're not thinking they're the righteous, but they're saying, God, your mercy and your peace will make me righteous. And this is what St. Paul is saying. For in it the righteousness of God is revealed by faith to faith. And here's some examples of the Bible using righteousness, the word righteousness, and showing you how it means not I'm better than everyone else, but how it means kindness. In your righteousness, bring me out of trouble. So someone that's going to bring me out of trouble is someone that's going to have mercy on me, is going to be kind towards me. They have distributed freely. They have given to the poor. Their righteousness endures forever. So associating giving to the poor, distributing freely with righteousness. So just an example of how righteousness is used in the gospel. And then at the end of the verse, he says, the righteous shall live by faith. And this is a quotation from Habakkuk 2:4. He says, the righteous shall live by faith. And he's telling them, look, it's not just my idea, but this is an idea that was in the Old Testament, and Habakkuk was talking about that the righteous shall live by faith. The righteous are not living by the law. The people that are the Pharisees that do everything in the law, those aren't the people that are righteous. The people that are righteous are the ones that live by faith. And this idea, this concept of righteousness is a very important concept in Christianity. It's very important, very vital to understand that I of myself have no righteousness apart from God. I can only call myself righteous. Paul can only call himself righteous if God gives him the righteousness. And this is what he's saying. The righteous shall live by faith. Because I have faith in God, I trust in God, and God puts his righteousness on me and will take care of me. And this is gonna be the first part of the argument, and we're gonna see how this is gonna work in our lives. Okay. Long verse here, but I put it all together because it's kind of hard to talk about any one of these verses apart from each other. So we'll read it and we'll try to follow.
This is 18.
No, this is 18? Okay.
That's it.
Sorry.
The two before was 16 and 17.
Sorry about that. So this is Romans 1, verse 18. For revealed is the wrath of God from heaven against all impiety and unrighteousness of men. So here he's talking about God's righteousness and then unrighteousness, and we'll talk about that. Who hold back the truth by unrighteousness, because that which is known about God is manifest among them. For God manifested it to them. For since the creation of the world, his unseen things, namely his everlasting power and divinity, have been clearly seen, being understood through the things that have been made, so that they are without defense. For having known God, they did not glorify him as God or give thanksgiving, but they became useless in their questionings, and their uninsightful heart was darkened. Claiming to be wise, they became foolish, and changed the glory of the incorruptible God into the likeness of an image of corruptible man, and of birds and quadrupeds and reptiles. Okay, so this whole thing, St. Paul is saying that God's wrath is revealed. And why is God's wrath revealed on the people? Because they knew God. Everyone knew God. And how did everyone know God? Is that the things that were, he says, the unseen things were manifest before him, his unseen things. The things that are unseen are the power and the divinity. Now they have been clearly seen. How have they been clearly seen? To the things that have been made. So he's saying everybody, even the most basic understanding, the most basic religion, all religions of the world knew nature. They could see nature. And God revealed this to all nations. God showed all nations that there's a tree, there's a humongous world, there's a humongous sea, there's a mountain. And humans knew that no matter what they did, they could never create a tree or make a mountain spring forth from the earth. But somehow there's a mountain there, and somehow there's a world there that somebody greater than us had to have put there. How did it get there? There's no way I could have done it. There had to be something higher than this world. There had to be something above this world that made all these things. And all these things are perfectly put together. All these things perfectly work together. You know, just as a side note, the more humans learn about science, the more it confirms that the world had to have been created by a creator. Some people might lead you to think the opposite by trying to explain everything through science, but the more we learn about science, the more we learn, for example, the Earth is on an axis. The Earth isn't straight. It's on a slight tilt. And if the Earth was 1 degree tilted a little bit more, there would be no life on this Earth. So the Earth is tilted exactly the exact degree that is needed for life to exist on this Earth. And the Earth is